because I know there's people out there. Like I said, I've got two phones here. I've got my one phone where I do all of my actual broadcasting. I'm pretty sure that's the purple phone. The purple phone is the broadcast phone, where I broadcast via Streamlabs. It just runs what's going on my screen at all times, and I've already put up a little thingy for everything to kind of fit in, so it's kind of nice. On my other phone is the phone that I can use to make new material. The green phone is my new material phone, where I have all of my recording software and all of my mixing software and all that stuff, so that I can put some new stuff together and then upload it to my internet area, and then broadcast that here. Now, of course, you can just go to these places and watch what I make, but I'm right here. And got to give you guys something to watch and something to listen to and something to think about and all that stuff, So, I just want you to just sit back and enjoy, and we're all trying to write a story about everything that's happening around us. We all want to kind of put together a narrative, so to speak, to explain why all these things are happening around us. There's probably a lot of you out there that have a lot of coincidences which occurred in your life. Like at this moment of your life, this happened at the same time, and it's like two or three of those can really kind of overwhelm you, and you want to find out, is this the universe trying to tell me something? Is somebody out there trying to give me a clue or something? Well, to be really honest with you, that's totally up to you. Your own subconscious mind, based on the story that you told yourself, is going to inform you of that, because we're all perceiving the same reality, but we all perceive it differently. That's just the way that our brain works. Consciousness has arisen within us because of our ability to perceive sensory inputs, by seeing visual images and hearing things and smelling things and touching things and existing within this reality has kind of made us aware of things. And now we're trying to put a story together to kind of explain it all. And I've put together a pretty cool story, and if you use it for your life, that's pretty cool. If you don't, that's pretty cool. If you want to fight against it, that's pretty cool. I don't care what your reaction is to the ideas that I'm now broadcasting live, hopefully 24/7 if my setup holds up. I really want my setup to hold up because I think you need this. You're surrounded by a bunch of people that are telling you things is wrong, and they look really good doing it, but it's wrong. And I'm the guy that is the guy that doesn't look good, although I do. But the thing is that what I'm presenting to you it's supposed to create the cognitive dissonance necessary to get you on the right wavelength here. Think about people before Galileo and Copernicus. People before Galileo and Copernicus, they believed that the sun rotated around the earth. That includes Confucius, Socrates, Jesus, Buddha, Moses, Abraham, Julius Caesar. All these individuals, everybody believed that the earth was the center of the universe. They all thought that. And even the early Christians like Augustine, or Saint Augustine as he's known today, even Francis of Assisi, they all believed these things, that the earth was, that the sun rotated around. And when people realized that's not true, you had a group of people that really, 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 really wanted the earth to be the center of the universe. And I could see that there was a huge clash on this. But you can't fight against truth. Eventually you're going to lose if you fight against truth. You're going to lose. And it's been that way forever. I mean, I can imagine, like, I want to talk about race for a second, since that's kind of an important issue. I imagine that white people in the middle of Norway or northern India or wherever the fuck they came from. I'm a white person, so I kind of fit that too. They probably never had ever seen a black person or a native person or anybody. And they automatically assumed, well, since we're the only ones here, we must be the masters. And when they saw, these new kinds of people that looked different than them, they had to write a narrative that made them the center and end all be all, so that they could continue believing that they were superior. The origins of it wasn't based on hatred, it was just based on simple ignorance. So this happens all throughout history in so many different ways, where we thought, like scientists believed that scientists in 1300s, doctors and not doctors, but the people that considered themselves the wise men, the ones that invented bloodletting. Bloodletting. These were the medical experts of the day. They thought that rats spontaneously generated out from garbage. Now, of course, we know now that that's not true, but they believed that stuff. And we're gonna become aware of some things that is going to kind of jar us in the next little short of amount of time. I mean, there's a lot of things happening really quick right now, and they have to happen because the solar system is about to change, and it's kind of a big deal. There's a possibility that we're going to lose a planet. There's a possibility that Mercury is going to fall into the sun, and then when that happens, it's going to be a big deal. There's talk out there in the scientific community and among other areas that there's a giant asteroid headed towards us. That there's an extinction level collision about to occur really soon. And the nations have built a large UFO to block our view of it. So instead of seeing the huge extinction class asteroid that's about to hit us, we see the spaceship. Because the people who kind of are the masters of the world right now, they think that it's better for people to think that aliens exist than to think that they're about to die. Because some people are going to be in that craft and in that UFO, and they're obviously going to survive the impact. There's also another group that's going to be taken probably underground, where they're going to be put into little cubicles, like a human time capsule, and they're going to be preserved. And the only way to preserve an individual's consciousness is that it has to be active. So what scientists have figured out is that if we take an entire generation of people put them in human time capsules and connect them to like a virtual world, a virtual reality world where they're, but keep them like under a coma, like in the movie The Matrix. They turn into little batteries. Well, those are human time capsules. And if there's an extinction level event that's about to happen, you want to hide these people and keep them alive and keep their brains functioning so that, however long it takes for the Earth to kind of recover, then somebody can go and wake them all up. And that's the third group. The third group, that's the guy, the individual or individuals who remain on the planet and wait, because once the collision event happens, once the collision event happens, or the extinction event happens, the Earth is gonna get all back to normal. It's gonna get all back to normal, and then all the people are gonna wake up, and then call the craft down. So that's what's going on, folks. That's the lowdown on what's happening. So all of our religions and all of our ideas and everything that we've thought of is being super tested right now. Super duper tested. And you need to realize that everything's gonna be fine. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it through this because I know it. Number one, you can trust in me for no other reason other than the fact that I can't fucking die. I can't die. I've died. The first time I was in a car wreck back in 2001, right before 9/11 happened. I was in a car wreck and I lost all my blood and I was dead with no blood in my body for an hour. It's like I didn't have a pulse for an hour, but I was still talking. Now, I don't remember what I was saying. I'm pretty sure when I get to that level that, another consciousness kind of takes over, because there's something in me. Like the Holy Spirit was Jesus, and that kept him alive. I've got something else in me keeping me alive. And trust me, it ain't the fucking Holy Spirit. It's the other guy. It's the other guy. It's like, the other guy? Who's the other guy? We all think it's the devil, Lucifer, blah, 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 blah. But you don't know the story. I know the story. I know the story. I'm going to tell you the story, because you're here. Are you still here? All of you still here? Yep, you're all still here. So, you see, the reason why the other guy has an immortal is because something happened in the Garden of Eden that you're not being told. Because if you knew this stuff, then what's supposed to happen isn't going to happen. That's just how it is. But long time ago, God, Adonai is the Jewish word for Lord. So I call God Adonai. That's his name. Adonai made man, saw that man was lonely, made a woman, and let them roam around and play with the animals. Adonai was watching Eve one day, and they were naked like animals. They weren't animals, but they were naked like the animals. And one day, God was walking around and noticed that Eve kind of just squats down and plops out. She lays her eggs. Eve, God's like, oh, Eve lays eggs. And human eggs, when a human lays eggs, that's known as menstruation. That's a girl's period, is when a girl lays her eggs, so to speak. Kind of like a chicken spits out their eggs, because they're kind of in the way and they got too old and they can't, that's why that happens. But God, Adonai, saw Eve just like going to the bathroom. It's like she's going to the bathroom over in the bushes, and instead of going to the bathroom, she bleeds and spits out all of her eggs. And Adonai's like, oh, yikes. I gotta make sure Adam doesn't eat that stuff. So God sits down with Adam and goes, hey, you see that stuff? Points over to Eve's eggs. And Adam's like, yeah, what is that? It's like, yeah, you can eat anything you want, but don't eat that. If you eat that, you'll just die. Now, God, of course God knew. I mean, it's like when you tell your kid not to go running out in the road. You don't want them to get hit by a car, but if the kid doesn't understand that, you got to make something up. You got to be like, there's a huge dragon out there that's going to eat you if you, So God, Adonai, was like acting like a parent at that moment. Like, if you eat that, you're gonna die. Now, of course, Adam wasn't going to die, but Adonai didn't want Adam to eat Eve's menstruation. That's kind of icky. That's kind of gross. It was kind of, But there was another being. Apparently these animals had the ability to communicate with humans and were able to communicate their ideas and consciousnesses to other humans. And the serpent saw this. Was like, ooh, I know what I'm going to do. And the people are wondering, well, where did this serpent come from? What is the source of this serpent? Who is the serpent? Who is it? Well, according to the book of Revelation, that serpent is a seven-headed dragon. That serpent is a seven-headed dragon. So it's like there's a seven-headed dragon hanging out in the Garden of Eden. And was able to convince Eve that she could eat her own menstruation. Yikes. And then Eve didn't know what it was. Adam didn't know what it was. They didn't know what it was. And no one was told. You might ask, how do you know? Well, because I know these things. Think about it. It's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only thing that makes sense. So, they get kicked out. First thing that happens is that they mate and they have a kid. And that kid kills his brother, and he gets banished, and he goes to the east of Eden, because Cain knew that, the tree of life was there. And Cain really wanted to kind of redeem himself in some way, and he knew that there was a guardian there at the tree of life. And keep in mind that at this time, there were no rules, there were no laws. Back in those days, you could kill somebody and get away with it. You could steal. You could even, mate with a woman without her consent. Things were pretty bad back then. This is before the flood. This is about, 8,000 years ago, 9,000, 8,000 years ago, something like that. And Cain, another thing that was still legal was idolatry. It was legal. Idolatry was legal. My phone is nice and cool. That was a good idea. I'm so smart. Idolatry was not illegal. You could worship anything. So Cain went to the guardian of the tree of life and was like, give me the tree of life. And the angel's like, no, I will destroy you. And Cain did the one thing that he knew that he could do to gain access to the tree of life. And that is, he got down on his knees and worshipped the guardian of the tree of life, because there was an angel that guarded the tree of life that kept everyone away. But Cain was smart. He was a smart little dude. He figured it out, and he worshipped the angel, and the angel said, have at it, pal. You claim that I'm God, that I'm the provider, and the angel kind of liked that idea. It's like, oh, I could get used to this, you know? And allowed him to partake of the tree of life, you know? And Cain became immortal. Cain became immortal. And when there's an immortal walking around, that means that whoever he has sex with, they get that way too. So God had to stop that cold in its tracks. He had to destroy everything. He had to just like wipe the slate clean. But you're probably wondering, now wait a minute, if there's immortals walking around the earth, including Cain, the flood wouldn't have destroyed them. I know. That's right. That's right. There are stories in the Orient, in the East, of during the beginnings of civilization, when some of these tribes were being formed, you know, after the recolonization of the planet through Noah, that after a couple of generations, about 30, 40, 50 years, sometimes 100 years, that they were sitting out there doing their thing, and all of a sudden, from the ocean, someone walks up from the ocean and says, hey, what's going on, fellas? Say, well, what? Wait a minute, you just walked out of the ocean. Like, I know. And then that individual known as Dagon or Inanna would you know, go on to kind of create civilization, you know, from there, you know, and everything changed from before the flood to after the flood. The earth was different. There was a physical change that occurred. Life was different before the flood than it was afterwards. So the thing is that the Adonai had to kind of reel everything back in. Adonai saw that he made a huge mistake. He fucked up, and he had to fix it. So he had to make his own immortals. He saw that they were already immortals, and so he had to make his own immortals. And that there was a war, and was able to take these immortals out. Adonai was able to take out these immortals, to bind them, and so forth. But these immortals, they left behind a system and a structure to kind of teach the future about the time when the world is going to change again, and that we're going to need an immortal to get us through this. And that's me. I am the fusion of the immortals of God and the immortals of man. I have both of that lineage within me. And I guess I asked for it. I always instinctively knew that this was going on. I always knew that. So Everything is kind of being pieced together, I guess. I know there's people out there. I know this is probably either blowing your mind or scaring the fuck out of you. I don't know I don't know which is which yet, but but um, but yeah, if you also have to realize that because I am immortal, I can command this reality to do anything I want. So, what I'm offering all of you, the reason why I'm doing all of this is, number one, we gotta start. If we haven't already begun to to do this, we need to start. If we have already, which I'm pretty sure that there's already a giant craft in the sky, I already know it's there. That means that there's people out there that know who I am. There's people out there that realize very, very clearly that there is an immortal out there who's not one of us. That's what they're thinking right now. That's what they think of me, is that I'm an immortal that's not one of us. And I don't fit in either of them. Because there's the God people that get their immortality. And then there's the other guy that got their mortality. But I kind of did it kind of in the middle, so to speak. That's why I'm Maitreya. That's why I am Maitreya. Is because Maitreya is an individual who is required to obey all religions. You see, in order for me to have the full nature of my power, the full scope of my command on this reality, I have to pretty much obey every religion. I have to be a Christian, I have to be a Jew, I have to be a Buddhist, I have to be a Muslim, I have to be a Hindu, I have to be all that stuff. That includes being an atheist. Now, that people may say, well, that means you don't believe in God. No, it means that I have to somehow put a rational bent on my narrative, because that's what I've constructed here. I've constructed a narrative, and now that all the pieces are falling into place, number one, I'm immortal and I cannot die. Number two, my purpose is to help us get through the time period where we're going to face an extinction level type of crises, and I'm here to help us go through that. And I'm the only one that can do it because, number one, I can't die. And because that there's some level of trust you can put in me to get some things done. Because I can't die. I can't die. And number three, I need to show you all that this is real, but I'm not going to allow people to start killing me. I'm not gonna test my powers that way. Heck no. I don't want to go through what I went through in 2001 when I was in a car wreck and lost all my blood. And then 2 years ago, I was dead for a couple of days and I came back to life. And they're like, oh shit. If this guy finds out that he can't fucking die, who knows what the fuck he's gonna do? He's gonna start jumping off buildings, shooting himself in the head. I don't want to do that stuff, folks. I don't want to jump off buildings, okay? I don't want to have to do any of that. I've taken poisons before, and poisons haven't affected me, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna just start drinking poisons just to prove to you all that I can't die. I mean, that'd be foolish of me. I mean, stuff still hurts. I have broken bones. I mean, stuff's kind of remains with me, you know. I'm still learning all this, you know. I'm still learning all this, you know. This is a real thing. This is a real thing to, you know. This is like, it's like I have to learn how to use my immortality, so to speak. It's kind of weird. Oh, my dinner is here. Hold on.
How you doing, sir?
Hi.
Anything to report? Any problems, concerns?
No, thanks.
Alrighty, there you go. Thank you very much. You have a great day.
Thanks. And because I'm immortal, so the only way that I can really prove who I am is that I have to activate those abilities where I can command reality and have things kind of conform to my will, so to speak. And no matter what I say, everything that I say, because I am who I am, everything that I say comes true. The problem is that if I'm not obedient to my own word, all the words that I've ever said, if I'm not obedient to my own words, then the impact of whatever future proclamations become lessened. Because it's it's like a God isn't supposed to be someone who lies, but if God does tell a contradiction or a lie, reality kind of has to figure out a way to make both things true. That's how miracles happen. Miracles happen when God makes a proclamation, two proclamations that are at odds with each other, and the only way for both of them to be true at the same time is if something miraculous happens. So, the more contradictory and paradoxical your requests, the more miraculous the results. So, by manifesting my role as Maitreya, by obeying all the religions of the world, then I can command reality. Now, I have a secret weapon, folks, and it's the thing that people wonder about me. It's like, well, you sound like a really great guy, and everything you're saying is exactly what we need to hear. But why do you worship the devil? Why are you a Satanist? Why do you look at the concept of Antichrist and anti-Christianity as something that we should follow? And the answer is very simple. The only way that you can put together all of the different expressions is by creating that paradox. The only way that you can say to yourself that all of this that's happening around me makes sense is if Satan, Lucifer, is the eventual heir of this reality. And eventually that individual is going to get what it wants. Otherwise, it's not going to stop. It's like there's a huge 7-headed dragon that's 100 miles long in the middle of China, or in the middle of Russia, or in the middle of Africa, or whatever it is. Like, just stomping around, blah, destroying everything around it. And everyone's screaming and running. I'm telling you. If you see it, and it's coming towards you, if everybody just got down on their knees and fell on their face and worshipped it, and just, worshipped it, it would stop dead in its tracks. Stop dead in its tracks. It is the secret weapon. The secret weapon against any of that. When you see something big that you can't fight, you must surrender. Surrender. And that frequency of surrender pacifies it. So, when I saw throughout my life that that I had a lot of chaos and turmoil in my life, when I just got rid of all of the things that were causing this chaos, all of my ideas, and just submitted myself to that which I was afraid, I became aware. I became enlightened. I saw my own immortality. I saw exactly what is about to happen. I was able to really clearly determine exactly everything that's going on. So when I gave myself over to the idea of the devil, I didn't do it so that I could break the rules. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to, take advantage of anybody. I want the truth. And the truth is, you can't worship every religion unless you include Satanism. Because it's an expression of faith. It's a story and a belief. And there has to be a way for you as an individual to include Satanism in the syncretic revelation. And how do you do that? Well, I've done it. And I've put together this Twitch site. Because I can't just sit here in even just a couple of hours and explain it all to you. Even Joshua, or how you guys call him Jesus, I call him Joshua, because that's his name. Joshua, he was with his disciples for 3 years, and they still didn't get it. And the reason why is because Jesus went a certain route. When Joshua discovered that he was immortal, he wanted to do it. He was only surrounded by a culture, a very specific culture that directed his path, that directed his method, that directed his message. And I'm here to kind of repair all of that. Yes, Jesus showed us the way to immortality. But Paul came along and screwed it all up. Because Joshua made a proclamation that said that his followers would have the same word that he does, the same power in his word. And Paul comes along and screwed everything up. And then when the church was established in 360 AD, the Roman Church, and that was it. But still, the problem was that those institutions still had the power to do what they do. So the second guy, that's me, I'm here to fix all that. And the only way that I can fix that is that I have to completely demolish it. I have to completely demolish it. I have to completely reveal that the meat of Joshua's expression is the fact that we have a future, that immortality is possible. Now, unfortunately, it's kind of a, most people don't believe. They just don't believe. So that time period is over. Once I become aware, then apparently the clock is ticking. The only reason I am aware of these things is because the clock is ticking, and the clock is ticking towards our eventual extinction level crises that are unfolding in front of our eyes, literally. But what that means is that in order for me to walk in my power, for me to be able to command reality, to do what I want, I have to obey every religion. And that includes Satanism. And Satanism, which you might think is strange, that to hear someone like me say this, because you've probably never heard this uttered by anyone who worships the devil, that there are rules to Satanism. There are rules, and the thing is that people have a skewed concept, because the Roman Catholic Church wasn't persecuting real Satanists or witches back in the old days, like 1,000 years ago. They were actually targeting people who were worshipers of Allah and saying that these people were dangerous, and like, well, we got to get rid of them somehow, because they were scared that these people that were Persian in nature and coming over to the Christian population and convincing them that their ideas were right, they had to put a stop to that. Now, I'm not saying that it was right. I'm just saying that at the time, the church was saying, we got to stop this. So how do we, and they were thinking, how do we do it? Well, why don't we just say that they're devil worshippers? Oh, that's a good idea. So all of those 1,000 years ago, the Roman Church at the time, which was the only game in town, the Reformation had not occurred. They claimed that they called these invaders. They didn't call them Muslims. They didn't call them Mohammedans. They called them Satanists and devil worshippers. These guys are the enemy. They're the enemy. So what I've done, so to speak, is that the Christian church today, the evangelical church today, has created a narrative. They've created a story about the identity of the character known as the quote-unquote Antichrist. Okay? Now, what I've done is I have examined the expressions of this individual, and I have manifested them in me. To shatter and break the power of that evangelical spell, which is holding us back. You look all over the world, and the thing that's holding us back as a species from saving our asses from the extinctions, the extinction that's staring us in the face, Christians are the ones that are stopping all of this. Christians are the ones that are holding us back, because they don't want to be seen as being wrong. I mean, you see it all over the world. You've got people clinging to old ideas because it's all they've ever known. But when new information gets presented to them, they don't want to give up. It's just like during Galileo Copernicus, when they figured out that we're not the center of the universe, but that we go around the sun. That's exactly how the Christian church is reacting to the fact that the spiritual existence that we perceive around us is something completely different than the narrative which Christians tell us. Because the Christians tell us that these spiritual entities are evil, quote unquote. Now, they can cause harm, but are they malicious in that method? I don't think so. Hold on. Isn't that weird? I'm getting phone calls. Hello? Oh yeah, I did. I got my dinner right here. I got my dinner right here. Oh, that's weird. Anyway. See, they do this stuff on purpose. They do this stuff on purpose. See, people don't want the truth. What they want is to be comfortable. That's why people in like the southern area, south of the border, that entire area down there, they allow dictators to take over their lives because it's easier. It's easier to have someone tell you what to do. That's what they want. That's what people want. People want. The reason why America is the way that it is right now with the guy that's running the place is because that's what people want. People want some big, fat, gross, disgusting creature telling them what to do. Because they don't want to think about that. The only thing they want to think about, people just want, they want to know how to get the girl and deal with the after effects of getting the girl and just, you know, kind of just be happy. That's all people want. That's what people want. You know, they don't want to be, they're just like Adam. They're stuck in a garden and they don't want to be lonely. And then girl pops up and, oh, she spits out eggs. I've got to prevent that from happening. You know, that's why you do it. You gotta, you know, you don't want the girl to be bleeding her whole life, so you gotta get her pregnant. You know. Now I'm not saying that that's something that you should, you know, if a girl doesn't want to have children, that's fine, that's okay. I'm just telling you what, you know, the natural reason why things are occurring like that. But the thing is that in order for me to get into my power, where I can command reality and you all can see it happen, and I'm pretty sure you guys have been seeing it happen all over, you know, I mean, I'm pretty sure that you all know who I am. The only person that doesn't know is me. And you all are absolutely terrified that if I actually start walking in my strength, that I start, you know, walking in Maitreya, which means that I've got to obey everything. But I have a secret weapon. That secret weapon is the worshiping the devil. Because when I worship the devil, I can get away with anything I want. Because I worship the devil, I don't have to. I can look at all of the rules and regulations of the religions of the world and kind of just pick and choose which ones are more accurate, so to speak, or things that I can actually accomplish. Because it's a lot easier to abstain from meat than to not check out a girl's hot body. It's a lot easier. And most people know that. Most people know that. Most people are aware of that. So, what I'm asking for all of you before I shut this on, what I'm asking from all of you is that I want you to ask me what you want. You know, you have desires and wishes and dreams and all that, and you know, a lot of you want to do it yourself, and that's cool. I'm totally down with that. Some of you want some help, and I can do that. So if there's anything you want in this reality, just ask me, and I'll command the world to give it to you. I have to figure out some way to get something out of it, of course, but we'll figure that out. I mean, it's Twitch. I mean, they've got little, like, you know, subscription stuff. I'm sure I can do it all on Twitch. I can do it all here. So if any of you out there would like to kind of help me put this together so that people can, you know, get anything they want and have a reason to live, you know, hit me up.